We've explored there, well, both of you have explored how they fell short in attack, but let's look at it from Ireland's defensive perspective. Murray, I'll start with yourself. Like, how did Ireland actually prevent New Zealand from scoring a try, becoming the first Northern Hemisphere team since 1995, I believe, in doing so?
Yeah, well, we've touched on some of the things there. Closing down the decision-making time. Ireland under Andy Farrell have kind of moved to having a lot of bodies in the line, and that was the case. You saw at times it was 14 up there and Rob Kearney controlling the backfield on his own. Like, we should first mention, as you say, they came very close to her, and Joe Schmidt mentioned it pretty much at the start of his press conference afterwards. They had like multiple really good try scoring chances that generally they would have taken. Even that lovely move they had, throw over the tail of the line out, Rico Ioane goes through the seam and just throws a loose offload. It was really good defensive work from Keith Earls and Kieran Marmion. In fairness, Bowden Barrett kind of breaking to within a couple of metres of Ireland's line, throws a bit of a loose offload again. That's Rob Kearney scrambling really well to get into that offloading channel. There was the saves, from the one from Peter O'Mahony, obviously, which stood out really well. Was a big moment in the game. He did really well to get back there and grab the ball in front of Ben Smith. There was another one in the first half, actually. It probably wasn't as apparent at the time. New Zealand were attacking out to the left edge. They had Kearney came up to kind of close the door close the gate on the edge of the defence, and suddenly the space kind of beckoned in behind. It was 3-on-3 on the outside edge for Ireland, but Barrett tries to grub her through that one, and Rico Ioane was taking off. I think he would have beat Kearney for pace. Kearney was turning, but Devon Toner just gets his foot to the ball and kind of Ringrose scoops it up. That was quite a probable try, I'd say, if the ball goes through there. There was loads of little moments like that, but because of the pressure on the decision makers, and Ireland did it really intelligently. You saw Ringrose leading it a lot, shooting from that second or second centre channel and getting up outside the decision maker, who was in behind that pod of forwards that New Zealand always use, that 3-man pod. Yeah, the prime example was in the first half where Ringrose shoots up, Barrett kind of turns his head and realises Ringrose put him under pressure, knocks on the ball. You saw a lot of that, and you saw them going after Brodie Retallick as well. Like, New Zealand's structure in attack is quite simple. We mentioned it. They play that kind of three-man pod off the ruck, and then they have an option to carry, to tip on, or to go out the back door. Often Retallick probably felt like he couldn't even make that decision because Ireland were shooting so aggressively onto the decision maker. So they'd done their homework really well. You could see how well Andy Farrell had prepared them. And it is a basic thing at the end of the day. But it's surprising that more teams haven't put New Zealand under that kind of pressure. Like Don Lennon mentioned it during the commentary on RT. He said, these guys look like normal players when they're put under pressure. And Ireland just applied it so thoroughly. Like, we talked about that concentration level across 80 minutes. They applied that so thoroughly and made all the decisions really well. Even Kieran Marmion at times wasn't in the line. Sometimes he did sweep in behind, which maybe doesn't always happen with Ireland. And he was always there when that kick went in. They just read that play really intelligently on an individual level. And then when someone did shoot, they were always backed up. If Ringrose went, then Earls went with him as well from the outside edge, reacted really well. And you saw that really important cohesion that Ireland have built in their defensive system. So yeah, it was an outstanding defensive display, while at the same time the All Blacks could have scored a couple of tries.